except to this man. When I read it, I said, my God, is this the document that they're clinging, that this beast, I call him, beast or Azal, is the successors of the Bab, and the Bab tells him that, hey, watch out, don't alter my words. That's very amazing. I said to myself, God, why would Bab say that to him? Anybody with a sound mind immediately looking at this discredited Azal, that, hey, you've been told not to alter it, and never told us, because Bab knows that you're going to do it. That's the only way Bab would have told him that. All right, I decided on this to make some research to find out whether this guy has done anything like that or not. I have taken, as my hobby again, I don't dare to call it a spiritual move because it's just a hobby. I collected all this manuscript pertaining to the writing of the Bab. As I said, it's very convoluted. In fact, I couldn't find two manuscripts that they match. Doesn't matter which one you take, there's a differences in them. Different scribes, they have different words, you know, this or that is mixed up. Not major ones, sometimes it's major. So I tried to find all of this, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 of this manuscript, and I typed them all. 10,000 pages. Then I tried to compare them to see this copy, this manuscript with that manuscript, and I wrote the differences in the bottom of the page, in the footer. I wrote down the differences of the two manuscripts. Then I tried to find all those quotations where Bab says that these things are in the Islamic book. So 10 years research and I've done. And then I came to something pretty strange. One of these books that's on the internet too, it's called the book Panj Sha'n, or 5 Mode. And typed the whole book. Now, as a matter of taking the typos out of the book, I compared this book to another book. This book would have been at F23, if I'm correct. Yes, it is F23, of the Edward G. Brown collection in University of Cambridge in England. I ordered it. I got it. Got the manuscript, and I found there's another copy of this 5 Mode or Panj Sha'n of the book, written with the handwriting of this Mr. Azal or Beast. And he would do these things for Edward G. Brown for the matter of money. He had nothing else to do. He was kicked out. In Akka, finally they took him to the Cyprus in the island of Satan. It is Satan Island. They put him there. And there he used to, as a person in exile, he used to, for the sake of money, write these books in his handwriting and send it to Edward G. Brown. Edward G. Brown, a lot of them are all convoluted and wrong because he wrote it down. Edward G. Brown apparently is, doubtful about this Azal, and it says, ask him questions, what it is. Is this what not? Is this yours or not? And on the beginning of this book that he has written, the second copy of the 5 Mode, he has written this Persian writing. I'm going to translate it, but Persian people can take a look at it. In there, in here, it says, I'm going to read in Persian because I believe some of the Persian are listening to this, but then, we can translate it to see. It says, و آن چه در این نوبت ابلاغ محضر عالی شده از شؤونات خمسه است که هر چند ورق به شأنی است و این کتاب از حضرت نقطه است، مداخله بعضی در آن نیست مگر آنچه از قلم کتاب خارج شده باشد. اگرچه حقیر نسخه سابق و این نسخه را خود نوشتم، لیکن شاید قصوری در وضع ترتیب آن شده، زیرا که نسخه اصلی موجود نیست، ولی از خارجین مداخله ندارد، چنانچه در بعضی موارد بعضی مداخله نموده و تغییرات حاصل است، اما آنچه از این عبد مفتقر است انشاءالله تغییری در آن نبوده. Translation simple. It says that to Your Excellency, Mr. Edward G. Brown, what you see is called, the book is called Five Mode, and it is the writing of the Bab. It is not somebody else's writing. And if there are certain parts missing, is because the scribes, they maybe, missed a word or two. But I have written the previous copy and this copy myself, and the chapters, it might be varied. One chapter might be before the other chapter because there are kind of prayers, but otherwise the actual text is, there's no mistakes in it, it says. And I personally have done it, and there's no mistakes in it, and he says that. And you can find this for yourself. Take a look at it. Some English people may be able to read. This is the handwriting of Edward G. Brown at the very bottom of it. Take a look again. So, what is he saying here? He says that there are two copies of the Book of Five Mode. I wrote the first one. This is the second one. I'm writing it. The book is supposed to be 19 chapters, but Bob never revealed more than, I think, 7 or 8 chapters. They go in the name of God the Glorious, or Abha, or Ajlal, so on. But some of the chapters, he says it might be back and forth. But the actual text in that chapter, he says there's no mistakes in it. I've written it, I guarantee it. And who is typing these books? Me. I'm typing the first books. We have the types. And we're using the second copy, which this copy, as I'm saying, from Edward G. Brown, F2 Majri. And I'm all of a sudden getting to the pages of 219 to 220. And I see, as the writing comes, I see the word etc., which Persian they write it alch, which means the letter A, the letter L, and the letter Kh, etc., meaning ila akhar. I'm looking at this. Why does he say in the middle of the book etc.? It's like you're looking at the Bible and you're trying to write the Bible, exact Bible, and sending it to somebody. And then in the middle of it you get bored and you say, well, this guy's not going to read it to know it. So I'm not going to write down the chapter 8 all the way. And all of a sudden I omit a couple of pages and I'm going to say etc. And then I continue. This fellow was transcribing the Book of God, which he claims to be the successor. After saying that there is no mistakes in it, I've done it myself. You can see all of a sudden, from the first copy, that according to him he wrote it, and the second one here, a page is missing, and then continues again another place. And he uses the word etc. That means so and so on. Like, you don't need to know all this what Bob said, just so and so on. Now, if you're quoting from Bob and you're talking like me, you could do that. But if you're saying that this is the Bible of God, you can't cut a page in the middle of it and write it down, etc. What kind of a forging and alteration is this? And then all of a sudden, I read the word of Bob towards him. He says, do not alter anything, so that the people do not descend in the religion of God. Now I understood. Why Bob telling him that do not alter? Bob would have not said that to him unless Bob knows that he might want to do it. Only I had to investigate to find out that yes, this man actually calling himself the successors of the Bab and claims Baha'u'llah is wrong. Baha'u'llah is not the true one he says he is. And objections to Baha'u'llah was that Bab just died. His religion is not even taken off and you're coming to bring up a new religion. This was their objection to Baha'u'llah. And after claiming that, when you read what they claim to be the document of the successorship from Bab to him, you see that Bab tell him that don't change anything. And then when you investigate, you find that this man did. He did change one thing to another. And if you go right now to their site, actually, there are so many mistakes originally made by Azal, and these few people that are around him, I guess in Australia. There was one guy, I guess he was very adamant in Azal to be the right one, but he left to the Muslims, I heard right now. He left the successorship, went to the Muslims. He's a confused man. He's not a bad man. I've seen his face. If he's listening tonight to this, he has to call me back. I know you're angry at the Baha'is because you've been hit by covenant brokers, but Baha'u'llah is not in this issue, is responsible for what has happened. But the one you call master as Azal, based on the document of the Bab, Bab doesn't say to the people that they should follow him. He doesn't say to his followers, okay, my successors is Azal. None of that is in document, except that he tells them you have to obey the one who comes immediately after me. And the one that, and don't change the things, and he did. Another objection that these guys, they have towards Baha'u'llah, is that why are you coming so soon? You have to come, I don't know, 2,000 years from now or something. I have again typed personally the book of name. That's a couple thousand pages, this book's. At least 5, 6, 7 places. Bab says to his followers, when you see Baha'u'llah, he tells them, when you are at the presence of the God of whom God will manifest, shall make manifest after me. Why would Bab says to them? One of them, actually, I have a copy. Again, this Mr. Cole has put this book. It's right here. It's page 398 of the document called the Book of Name. And it is the chapter 14 of the unit 11, page 398. I brought the page actually here. In here, I mean, what testimony you want? Bab says, I've sent 32 man, Tuman, let's say dollar. Tuman is the money of the Persians. He says, sent 32 months to you, to Abdul Karim al-Ghazvini. He's one of the very beautiful believers of the Bab. Sometimes he was also a scribe of the Bab, a personal secretary of the Bab. He says, I send you $30, you take $6 yourself, the other 2 6 you give to so-and-so. The last $6 buy a gift on my behalf to give it to Baha'u'llah. Well, if Bab tells him that you're going to see Baha'u'llah and buy even a gift of $6 or 6 tumans, give it to him. That means Baha'u'llah is becoming immediately after him. What other testimony you want? Bab doesn't have to give any name, any time, any place. He uses the word. He says in Arabic, Shajare Abha. That is Baha'u'llah. He says, when you saw him, buy this on my behalf, give it to him. So, just to cheer him up. See how Bab loved Baha'u'llah, you know. I brought these things up tonight to tell you if here and there you come across the people that they are waywarding and they're going against the universal laws of justice. I am not one of them, by the way. I'm accused of it, but actually I'm not. Going against the universal laws of justice, or going against the Bab, against Baha'u'llah. Some people, they believe Baha'u'llah. If you add them all together, I've investigated, you cannot get even 1,000 people. And among them, there's all kind of dissensions and deceits and dissidents and disagreements, name calling. And then they go on and they say in their website, who said Baha'i faith is not branched into different sects? And then he brings 20 different names and he says, I am also one of them. Says the 5 elders are those also that a new sect in the Baha'i faith. Well, that's absolutely wrong. I've said millions of times, I'm saying that again. There is only one universal laws of justice. Any other universal laws of justice is a lie. Only the one in 1963. Why the hands of the cause was put together. I'm going to bring that issue next time when I'm going to talk about Masonry. That's the only true universal laws of justice. That is the one the Baha'is would have to go. Whether it is bad or good. Let me put it this way. If you hate them and you don't like them, doesn't matter. It's still they are the one that Baha'u'llah said they're there. No Baha'i in the world is in the position to repudiate the station of the universal laws of justice. All I have said is that there should be another universal laws of guardianship as a matter of my understanding from the faith of God. But there are covenant brokers that they misinterpret this. They try to say, oh, my background was Muslim. I never was a Baha'i because I've been always accused of it. Therefore, they convolute the matter to the rest of the member of Universal Laws of Justice, but probably not Iranians, and they don't know what's going on. So they bring to them, and even then they haven't told me anything, that I am or I am not. I have never heard anything from Universal Laws of Justice. So, what I'm trying to tell you that, do not be baffled by looking at the internet and all of a sudden see, oh my God, there are different sects of the Baha'i, Orthodox Baha'i, I don't know, Unitarian Baha'i. It's all lie. But the way the page in the internet shows as if there's like 1 million people out there following them. They're not. And they're all misguided. But I'm inviting them tonight to come down, read the writings properly, be the man of investigations. Whenever I read the Baha'i books that the scholars of the Baha'i faith, such as Abul Qasim Afnan, he has written one book about the history of the Bab, just makes me totally humble of this infinite knowledge this man has had in writing these books. Or there's another book, Nusratullah Husseini has written about the writing of the Bab and Tahirah. Baffling how much they suffered to investigate, to write these things and find things out. Or Mr. Ashraf Khavari, I have absolutely said that. Doesn't matter what God to do to my head, I will not become him. He's too big, even to fathom. Or Mr. Abul Fazal, and there are many others, you know. I'm just too small even to know them. But there are many, many books, many, many scholars in the faith that they all have studied properly when they say something, and they have come to the fact that there is the Bab, after whom Baha'u'llah came, and Baha'u'llah was followed by his interpreter Abdul Baha, who appointed Shawi Effendi as the guardian of the faith, who said in the 10 years plan there has to be universal house of justice elected by all the Baha'is of the world. That's the end. There's nothing else. 5 elders, which I'm one of them, have not come to impose themselves as the leader of the Baha'is or as a station bigger than even a local assembly. is irrelevant. They've come just to help Baha'u'llah to bring the part that others have not seen it, because Baha'u'llah didn't want to reveal it at that time. Shawi Effendi did not want to reveal it at that time. He has said it, it's in the book. You have to have the eyes, is like a stereogram. Then you find out this universal laws of guardianship is there. But the fact of believing that there's a universal laws of guardianship does not give a license to somebody who says, okay, then I'm against the universal laws of justice. No, you have to accept that already anyways. But addition to that is this one. Now, if universal laws of justice doesn't want to get into it right now, it's their business. But one day it will come out and people will find out. And fact of the matter, the issue is very simple. Either I'm right or I'm wrong. I'll leave it in the test of time. If in the course of time, after I'm dead, Baha'is they study this and see that, okay, this fellow was correct, then they adopt it. If it was not correct and not right, well, then it will be forgotten. But I found myself that I take this blame of telling it and the consequence that comes with talking about it, rather than be quiet and not speak about it. Okay? Because all my knowledge and understanding in 35 years in the Baha'i faith says there should be universal laws of guardianship. But the final word again is this, that there is no other organization, those who are hearing in the Baha'i faith, that if you put them all together, they do not amount to even 1,000 believers. It is all over the internet even. Their numbers are nothing, but they make it big by going into this. Few of them. One of them I heard, I was looking at his writing, is trying to clearly say that the Baha'i faith has become many sects. And this poor soul, he thinks we of the five elders are one of those that are against universal laws of justice. Please go study. Do not accuse people of what they are not, and do not stick to people, again, what they are not. This fellow Azal, he was a womanizer. He was after money, after fame, and just simply, he did not believe in anything but to get something. He was such a useless man that by attaching himself to Baha'u'llah to create some kind of a fame, to play some game, but it didn't work for him. That didn't at the end. It's not going to work for anybody else. I suggest strongly, those who want to become famous and making money, get out of the Baha'i faith. It's only, I don't know, 10 million, 7 to 8, 10 million Baha'is. They're too smart for you to cheat them, or they get cheated. They don't. Plus, they have administration. Go, say, among the Muslims or Christians or some other, forsaken people, claim some other names there. You will succeed more. You'll make money probably and fame. Don't come among the Baha'is and bring things that are not authentic, and improper. This was tonight to open up the hand of this beast that was sitting on the chest of God, as it says in the Bible, about Azal, and the document that they claim based on that he's the successor of the Bab. I brought it all up and you saw there's nothing in there. You can investigate more for yourself. Next time, I'm going to talk about the second type of the covenant breakers, those who have a confusions. They've been confused philosophy. There's few of them too in the history, but I'm going to take up the matter with Mr. Mason Remy. Allahu Akbar.